It was a horrible situation, if you guys didn't hear, about a kid who got killed last week. Austin Metcalf was his name. So he's at a track meet. And during the track meet, he's there with his team and his twin brother, and they're inside. They've got like a tent. Each team has their own little tent. Another kid, Karmelo Anthony is his name, not the basketball player. I have to say that. Not the basketball player, the Hall of Fame basketball player. Goes into their tent, and there is a kerfuffle. Going back and forth, kind of yelling at each other, pushing, and then what ends up happening, a fight ensues, and Karmelo Anthony stabs Austin Metcalf in the heart. Kills him. He dies in his twin brother's arms. It's horrible. Now, people are saying, well, it's a race thing. He said a bunch of racial things. He came, which all the witnesses saying none of that stuff happened. The father saying no, the father wasn't there. But all of this stuff is blowing up. But what you're getting now is you've got tons of GoFundMe's. Well, they're Give, Send, Go, because I don't think you can do a GoFundMe for murderers and stuff. The Give, Send, Go is something you can do. And they're raising tons of money for this kid and his defense. And it's up to there's several of them. And I'm talking, they're up to a couple $100,000 when you start adding them all up. But guess what? The black community is frustrated by this, saying, well, wait a minute, you're making this guy a hero? This kid's not a hero.
So the father of Karmelo Anthony, who is the 17-year-old teen who stabbed and killed the other 17-year-old teen, Austin Metcalf, at a track meet, is now saying that, his son was a good kid and he didn't do anything wrong and he had a 3.7 GPA and he was a good kid and he wasn't the aggressor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, this is what I tell black people. You never hold your children and you never hold each other accountable when this stuff happens.
Holding people accountable is great. We need to hold people accountable. Now, mind you, you got a lot of not black conservatives, black Americans coming out going, you don't celebrate this. This kid is not this is not a situation where you're celebrating a kid here who is somehow, they've made him out to be some sort of hero, which I've seen several tweets. This kid's just like Daniel Penny. This is how you defend him. They tried to put him in the back of the bus, Jim Crow era, and he came and he protected himself. I'm going to go back to two things. First, you're in a tent that's not yours. Okay? Secondly, why'd you bring a knife to a track meet? I don't know what kind of track meets are taking place in certain areas. I mean, and I've always thought track's kind of boring, but why'd you bring a knife to a track meet at all? And why is it the first response of anybody, especially young people today, young men, the first time something happens, you go straight to violence, and violence that is deadly? Why?
Yo, I'm going to have to pop off for a little bit. The tribalism in the black community needs to end. It needs to end. Point blank period, it needs to end. The same people who tried to make George Floyd a hero, who built statues of the man and compared him to MLK, are now trying to make 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, who stabbed to death an innocent young boy simply because he touched his backpack, a victim. Someone who committed cold-blooded murder. There is no world in which Karmelo Anthony is a victim.
He's not a victim. He's not. He's not. He's not a victim. You killed somebody. Now, the father has been out there for Austin Metcalf saying, I have forgiven him. That's more he said, for himself than for the victim, but still says he should pay the price, and that includes the death penalty. But now he's getting blowback because, you can't say that in today's world. Now people go, no. This thing became a race thing when it shouldn't have, because people wanted to make it that way. And then it became an us versus them, which it shouldn't be. It's two young kids, and one of them decided to do something heinous and kill somebody else and ruin their life, the other family's life, change it forever. Why again? Why? Why is the first instinct of young men in today's world to go and to do something violent?
We need to divorce ourselves from this false notion that just because someone looks like us, we need to defend everything that they do. That's how we end up defending people like R. Kelly. That's how we end up defending people like O.J. Simpson, people like Bill Cosby. It's wrong. I don't care what you look like, if you're blue, green, yellow, orange, white, orange, or turquoise. If you do wrong, I'm going to call balls and strikes. Wrong is wrong. And what Karmelo Anthony did was point blank wrong.
Yeah. What's turquoise? What group would that be? Native Americans?
Subcontinent Indians.
Yeah. Yeah. So Native, I would say, because they got the turquoise. He's right, though. Call balls and strikes. But this became a bigger race issue that it shouldn't have. This was bad kid in a bad moment doing a bad thing. He had already been in trouble, by the way, for bringing a knife to school. Somebody pointed out he'd skipped school that day. He'd been suspended on numerous occasions. Everybody's gone, oh, this poor kid, and people are take away the color of it. It was a horrific moment that has changed people's lives. But color is something that we can no longer get away from, and that people want to politicize. People will politicize anything. If you let your lawn grow a little too much in an HOA, somebody will say something. The next thing you know, everybody's politicizing it, and you're fighting. This was a horrible thing. But yes, holding yourself accountable, you should hold this guy up no more than anybody should hold Luigi Mangione up as some sort of hero. When you killed somebody, then you tried to get a bill named after him. Again, as if he's some sort of hero. He's anything but a hero. He's the exact opposite of that. He is a alleged murderer.
And so all these black social justice warriors online saying that we need to hear the other side, here is the primary fact that we're dealing with. A young boy is dead over a backpack because of a kid who didn't know how to control himself because of the conditions around which he was raised. And that is a travesty. But that doesn't make him a victim.
No, it doesn't. And he's not a victim. And what he did was victimize somebody and ruin his life and many others around it. Not a victim. You chose. If you were being attacked and beaten by 12 kids and you took out a knife and defended yourself, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But it wasn't that way. And your first instinct was go to your backpack and pick out a knife and stab somebody. Coming up, a lot of stuff to get to. Got some of your text messages. Somebody said the people raising money are the same ones who cheered when OJ was found not guilty. Did people cheer for that? I don't know if people cheered. Did people cheer for the OJ thing? I was so deep into the OJ thing because of where I worked. It was just, I was just glad it was over. But it's never over with OJ. I think we all know that. He's still looking for the killer, even from beyond the grave. It is the Jeff Etchett Show. It's Super Talk 99.7.